Hello. We're going to be talking in this sort of long lecture about this special period of time that we are in for the next 5 months, as well as some of the tools that Lantos is bringing forth so that we can take advantage of this special period of time. Now, the last lecture, the last video that I sent out gave some of this information, but not all of it, because it was targeting the course participants of the Full Moon Nectar program. For those of you who are watching who are course participants of that program, you will get the full lecture here that includes some of the messages that were presented to you in the last couple of Full Moon Nectar classes. But for everyone else, the last video gave some information about this, but this video is designed to present all of the information in one place. And for that reason, it's going to be a longer lecture so that you receive the full information. Let's begin by refreshing your memory about the special course coming up in the middle of May. Starting right around May 15th for 1 week, there's going to be a special course. And here is what Lantos said about it when he introduced this to us. He said, "Dear Masters of the Nectar of Unison, Global Unison sessions will be performed throughout the week of Global Unison, generating waves of unison. One global time each day throughout the week, welcoming all individuals from around the world to enjoy the flowing waves of nectar. In synchrony, in unison, waves of peace and purity flow. Fullness flows in luminous waves of nectar. Thousands, we must think in terms of thousands of people participating in this inaugural week of Global Unison. As years proceed, millions will participate. This is unison, global unison. Annually, a week of global sessions to initiate waves of purification and illumination around the world." Lantos then continued speaking about tools that would go to Kailash to receive special initialization from Mount Kailash. He said, "We will send to Kailash and to the Great Central Translator tools of unison. During this week, these tools receive initialization through the ceremony at the mountain Kailash and through the ceremony at the ocean center. It is very good. In this first year of the week of Global Unison, the presence of two fullnesses on the material layer occurs. This allows for the sacred ceremonies of initialization. The all-knowing mastery of the infinite source of creation is expressed in this arrangement of cosmic events at this time, occurring during the first week of Global Unison. Great celestial bodies of sun and moon participating in the enlivenment of two fullnesses for Earth. It is very significant. The world has long looked to these precious days of the rise of unison, global unison." So this period of time in May, that week in the middle of May, is going to be a very special period of time. One of the things that makes it so special is that we are able to have this ceremony of initialization at Kailash, allowing us to create the Kailash Strands, and we'll be talking more about that. But to give you an idea of how special this aspect is, this period of time, it requires the total lunar eclipse to occur right around 108 days after the lunar eclipse occurs. The Lunar New Year occurs. So 108 days after the Lunar New Year, there needs to be a full lunar eclipse at Kailash. And at the same time, the daily seed that is active at the time of the eclipse must be the seed locating the like. Now, the next time that this is going to happen is in 2069. That's in 47 years. Cindy verified all of this with Lantos, and then she said, "Is that the next time that we can do more Kailash Strands of Unison?" Lantos simply said, "Yes." So this period of time is really special. There are plenty of ways for us to be able to take advantage of it, and Lantos wants us to know these ways. In a message that Lantos provided to Cindy just a couple weeks ago, he spoke about these windows of opportunity, these energetic portals that allow us to have great advancement. So those of you not part of the Full Moon Nectar Program class, you have not heard this message before. This is new information for you. And those of you who were part of the Full Moon class, you'll like hearing this again because, as always, Lantos' messages are beautiful and the knowledge is important. Here is what Lantos said. The dynamics of Moon, the Earth, and the Sun generate portals of energy. Portals of energy are windows of acceleration which offer significant opportunities for growth. During these times, the physical material layer is more receptive to the layers of higher energy. All things material and immaterial are connected. These connections may be seen and even felt when they occur on the grand scales of celestial bodies. The Lunar New Year is a significant portal offering a change in the cycle of material expression. It is a time of transformation from one phase into another. New energies dominate. We see the same dynamics occurring on different levels of expression. Portals occur with varying degrees of influence. The significance of a portal varies depending upon the forces which create it. Great stellar forces, such as the cosmic bodies of Sun, Moon, and Earth, may generate a strong portal. It is in this way that our daily seeds change. The location of the Moon is tied to the changing energy which is associated with the daily seed. We may call this changing energy a portal. It is an opportunity to gain acceleration into a new phase. It is an opportunity for continued growth on all layers. Growth for the individual. Growth for all expressions of creation. It is on the day of the Lunar New Year that we begin the count of 108 for the yearly cycle. The day of the Lunar New Year itself is day 1. The days proceed one by one, passing through significant markers along the path to 81. The arrival of the 81st day completes the process of enlivenment of all values of material expression. 81 represents a value of totality on the material layer of existence. Within these first 81 days, additional sub-portals arise, each offering an opportunity for growth. On each of these first 81 days, dear Masters of Unison, we will enliven the values of the 81 seeds sequentially through the sacred sounds. Each day we will perform a daily session of sacred sounds. During each performance, in the final segment of sounds, we will introduce the sacred sounds, beginning with seed number 1 and the reflection seed. Over the course of these 81 days, the sequential enlivenment of seeds will replace the segment of the sounds of nectar. In this way, we will enliven all seeds through the process of the sacred sounds, beginning with the source and ending with the source. Cindy verified her understanding. She said, so each day, do we just stay on our schedule of the branches of Unison? And Lantos said, yes, the daily schedule remains. 2 sessions each day, allowing for global participation, and the weekly enlivenment of each of the branches of Unison. Yes, the schedule remains. And Cindy verified again, and at the end of each session, we replace the sounds of nectar, and instead we do the sounds of one of the seeds along with its reflective sounds. 1 and 81, then 2 and 80, all the way to 81 and 1 again at the end. And Lantos said, yes. Let me just clarify that for one moment. You'll also receive an email with further instructions on this, but for the daily global sessions that take place where we enliven our personal sacred sounds, and they're coordinated all around the world, starting on February 1st, at the end of those sessions where we would normally enliven the bliss seed and then the reflective bliss seed, we will instead enliven the seed of expression for that day, which begins with seed 1 and goes all the way up to seed 81 on the 81st day. And then after enlivening the seed of expression, we will enliven the seed of reflection for that day. So on day 1, the expression seed is seed 1, and its reflection seed is seed 81. So the reflection seed counts down from 81 all the way down to 1 on the 81st day. The videos that help you with those global sessions each day will reflect this. So you don't have to remember this. It will give you the sounds and the instructions each day. But this is something that Lantos wanted us to start doing on February 1st, so that is coming around right in just a few days. Then Lantos continued. With the arrival of the 81st day, there is a radiant celebration. 81 represents the physical steps required on the path to achieving 108. In this year of global unison, the 81st day arrives on the day of eternal light. Do you see the great significance? It is through the supreme intelligence and almighty organizing power that these portals unite on this day. The result is a tremendous upsurge of energy and light. This is the great blessing which comes before the most sacred week of global unison. It is on this day that the beloved strands of unison complete the process of sublime cultivation within the great central translator. Like the value of 81, these strands of unison enliven the values to bring forth the totality of 108. In this year, we give thanks for the arrival of these supreme portals. The blessed strands of unison open the channels of essence within our blessed masters of unison. We proceed now, day by day, each day significant in the grand process of enlivenment for all of creation. Very good. Yes, very good. Very good. Many blessings. So we have two very special windows of time. The most sacred week, the week of global unison in the middle of May, and then the 81st day after the Lunar New Year, which happens to be the day of eternal light, April 22nd. And Lantos, in fact, on a different occasion a few weeks ago, spoke about this particular day, April 22nd, for this year, the 81st day after the Lunar New Year. He said, "We will celebrate the completion of 81 days following the Lunar New Year at the Ocean Center. On this day, the physical structure for Earth is awakened to the eternal nature of life. On this day, droplets of nectar form. This day realizes the fulfillment of the path, the way to 108. On this day, droplets of Amrita form on the physical level of existence. It will be good to receive these droplets." Very good. Celebrating the eon of eternal light, the day of opening of the eternal nature of life on the physical layer of form. On this day, we celebrate the eon of eternal light. I am the way. I am the light. The awakening of eternal light on the layer of physical form. 81, 108. The realization of two fullnesses. This is the day of supreme realization, the day of global unison, the day of realization of the sublime profound. On this day, the precious substance flows. We will celebrate fullness on these 2 days, 81, 108. The first droplet of nectar, followed by the flowing of nectar. Yes, a blessed year of global unison. Very good. Many blessings. So, the 81st day, April 22nd, a significant day, and droplets of Amrita, of nectar, will form on the physical layer of existence. On the 108th day, that is May 19th, that on that day, flowing waves of nectar will form and will go all around the earth. 2 significant days. Now, in order for us to gain the greatest benefit from these activities, from these tremendous portals of energy, Lantos came forth with 2 different types of unison strands. One is the unison strand that we will receive before that sacred week of global unison in May, to allow each of us to be able to receive the nectar of Amrita ourselves. Then the second type is the Kailash Strands. Those will be available after the week of global unison, because they receive their energy, their initialization from Kailash itself during that week of global unison. They receive the flowing waves of Amrita at Kailash during that time. Now, Lantos spoke to Cindy about these strands, and when he introduced them, he noted the traditional importance and value of strands of 108 beads, 108 beads, that the world has always known. He said traditionally a strand of 108 spheres is said to offer blessings. These strands offer the light of a candle to the surroundings. But then he continued talking about these strands of unison. He said, the strands of unison imbued with the essence of Amrita rise as the sun in full radiance, offering illumination for creation. So because the strands hold this energy of the Kailash essence, the essence of Amrita, they have the full radiance. And so he used the analogy of a standard strand offering the light of a candle to the environment. And if you're in complete darkness, a candle is a pretty good thing to have. But these strands offer the light of the sun in full radiance. And they not only share that light to your environment, to their environment, they share it with all of creation. Lantos spoke early to Cindy back in October about these strands, and I told you about these strands all the way back then, just briefly giving you an introduction to them. And here's what he said. He said, strands of unison. One strand will promote the Realm Lord value. One strand will support the first spin key value. One will enhance the second spin key value. One will support the third spin key value. It is a process of understanding the nature of each location contained within the seed diagram. The Realm Lord location governs the highest values. These values are often unseen. These are the unexpressed values underlying life, moving life along the way, promoting and supporting the flow of evolution. The first spin key is the first material value. It is associated with yellow. This location expresses the energy and dynamics nearest to the source. This is a dynamic location, filled with the essence of physical energy and higher mental possibility. The second spin key supports the expressions of physical and emotional layers of form. This key is associated with the rose color. It is the layer of family. It is the structure of the home. The third spin key expresses dynamic values capable of generating material form and substance, and offers release of residues and actions of the past. It is of a blue nature. This is a location of will and determination. So this is what Lantos said to Cindy when he introduced the Unison Strands. So there are 2 different types of strands. The first is the Kailash Strands. The second is the Unison Strands. The distinction is in the substance that is used. The Unison Strands use glass spheres, whereas the Kailash Strands use either rudraksha or amber or rose quartz or blue lapis. So the material substance is different between the 2. And then the way they receive their energy is different. The Unison Strands and the Kailash strands both receive their energy within the great central translator over the course of 81 days. But then the Kailash strands go to Kailash and receive further initialization at Mount Kailash itself during the week of global unison. So there is a difference in the influence that they hold. The important thing to remember about both, and to keep in mind as we talk about the distinction between the two, is that both are good. The Kailash strands and the Unison strands both are good. What Lantos said to this effect was, both Unison strands and Kailash strands offer supreme blessings to the individual and to the multitude of precious expressions of creation. So both offer supreme blessings to you, but also to everything else in creation. Now, Cindy asked Lantos if he could speak more about the difference between the Kailash strands and the Unison strands. Here's what Lantos said. And I should tell you ahead of time, this is a little confusing, but don't worry, we'll talk about it at the end of it. The spheres receive unison initialization during 81 days of light, beginning with the great lunar cycle of this new year. Specific material forms of spheres, glass and gems, receive the influence of higher realms of light, translated into essence by the great central translator. The unison initialization process includes cycles of time, 36 days, 72 days, 81 days. These designations of time instill specific, subtle values within the spherical forms. This process opens channels of pure essence within these spheres. Sublime channels are established, and the material layer of each sphere is prepared to uphold a role in the expression of 108, enhancing every expression of life. Glass and gem spheres receive this unison initialization. Upon the completion of this stage, the glass spheres are compiled into the expressions of 108, strands of unison. These strands connect the masters of unison with the global channels of unison established through the pathways of light. As the masters participate with the enlivenment of the branches of sacred sounds, the glass strands resonate with the sublime values of finer essence supported by the channels formed during the unison initialization. The traces of empty, precious droplets of the great wave of creation resound within the forms of the spheres. 108 spheres generate a symphony of essence within the individual and enhance the nourishment which flows to the four branches of existence. During the performance of the branches offered in the week of global unison, our dear masters receive the flow of nectar generated through the stirring of Kailash. Nectar is generated. Nectar, Amrita, flows. The ability to receive the greatest benefit of this most precious substance is through a form which is open. It is best when the channels of essence are established and are open. When nectar flows, a proper receptacle catches this substance and preserves its value. Think of a cup. As water flows, the substance is retained within the form of the cup. A flat plate is not prepared to hold the substance as it flows. The water will be felt on the surface of the plate, but this experience will quickly pass as the plate again becomes dry. The matter is the same. The cup is made of the same matter as the plate. However, its form has been shaped to receive and preserve the flowing substance. Like this, the glass and the gem spheres have been prepared through unison initialization to capture, to receive the precious substance as it is generated during the ceremony of nectar at Kailash. The individual catches the nectar through the glass strands of unison. The maximum value of nectar is present at the location of the superconductor itself. Here, the Kailash spheres proceed to a deeper layer of cultivation, a further degree of refinement. In the presence of the great superconductor of energy of Mount Kailash, during the ceremony enabled through the precision of the great celestial convergence of light, form, and time, nectar flows to the cup of acceleration formed within the gem spheres present. This is the result of the unison initialization at the great central translator and the further experience in the magnificent presence of Kailash during the ceremony of nectar. The glass strands of unison are great repeaters. They receive and promote the flow of nectar generated at Kailash within the individual and within the branches. The channels of essence are open within these precious strands. Like a symphony, the strands of unison amplify the sacred sounds throughout the earth. This function is most significant in the days of the week of global unison. Wearing the strands of unison offers our dear masters the opportunity to receive the greatest value of precious nectar flowing from the sacred ceremony. Their function continues beyond the days of the ceremony as they continue to connect the individual with pathways of light established around the world, amplifying the benefits of the performance of the sacred sounds for all layers of life. The Kailash strands of unison, like the purest cup of acceleration, continue to uphold the sublime essence of precious nectar generated at Kailash. Kailash strands may also be worn to enliven the four branches of unison. Both Unison Strands and Kailash Strands offer supreme blessings to the individual and to the multitude of precious expressions of creation. Yes, very good. It is clear the purpose of each luminous strand, gem, and glass. Cindy said yes, thank you. And Lanta said many blessings. Now, I probably wouldn't have said yes. I probably would have said, could you say that part again? I'm not sure I understood. So let's go through just a few highlights of this message to make it clear what the Unison Strands are for, what the Kailash Strands are for, and what the difference is between them. The Unison glass strands, what Lanto said in this message, just a brief review, he said the glass and the gem spheres have been prepared through unison initialization to capture, to receive the precious substance as it is generated during the ceremony of nectar at Kailash. The individual catches the nectar through the glass strands of unison. The glass strands of unison are great repeaters. They receive and promote the flow of nectar generated at Kailash within the individual and within the branches. The channels of essence are open within these precious strands. Like a symphony, the strands of unison amplify the sacred sounds throughout the earth. This function is most significant in the days of the week of global unison. Wearing the strands of unison offers our dear masters the opportunity to receive the greatest value of precious nectar flowing from the sacred ceremony. So the most important aspect of the Unison Strands is that they are how you receive the flowing nectar from that week, that most sacred week of global unison. Kailash will get stirred, and flowing waves of nectar, flowing waves of Amrita will go around the earth. And the way that you are able to receive it and receive the greatest benefit from it is through the Unison Strands. The Kailash Strands will not be in existence yet because they're at Kailash receiving initialization. But the Unison Strands is how you receive the benefit. Now, the Kailash Strands, what Lantos said in this message was the maximum value of nectar is present at the location of the superconductor itself. Here, the Kailash spheres proceed to a deeper layer of cultivation, a further degree of refinement. In the presence of the great superconductor of energy of Mount Kailash, during the ceremony enabled through the precision of the great celestial convergence of light, form, and time, nectar flows to the cup of acceleration formed within the gem spheres present. So, and then he finished, he said, the Kailash strands of unison, like the purest cup of acceleration, continue to uphold the sublime essence of precious nectar generated at Kailash. So the Unison Strands are of supreme importance for you to be able to receive the nectar that is generated during the week of global unison. But they continue to have value afterwards because they continue to connect you with the pathways of light throughout the earth in which the Amrita will be flowing. The Kailash Strands, well, they're not available during the week of global unison, so they can't help you during that week. That's the Unison Strands that do that. But the Kailash Strands, they hold permanently the precious, pure nectar of Amrita issued from Kailash during the week of global unison. And yes, that means that the Kailash Strands are more effective. They're more powerful. Think of it with an analogy. It's cold, it's winter time. If you're out at night in the cold and you have a blanket that somehow connects to the earth and draws heat from the earth, then that blanket is going to be a really good friend of yours. That blanket is going to help you a lot. That would be like the Unison Strands. They are great repeaters. They take the energy from the pathways of light and give it to you while you're doing the techniques. So that blanket would be like the Unison Strands. But then instead, let's say that you have a space heater, but that space heater isn't actually a space heater, not one that you plug in. Instead, it is actually a sun. It is a miniature sun containing its own infinite supply of heat to help keep you warm. That would be the Kailash Strands. They contain their own influence given to them at Kailash during the week of global unison. And you draw that influence directly from the Kailash spheres themselves. So that's the basic difference between the Unison Strands and the Kailash Strands. You're going to love the Unison Strands. You're going to love the benefit that they allow you to receive from the flowing nectar of Amrita during that week of global unison. You're going to love it enough that then you're going to want the Kailash spheres just because they're more effective. They're the slightly more powerful, more effective version of what you fell in love with the Unison Strands. But there's one more thing to know about the Kailash Strands. Remember how I told you that this ceremony of initialization at Kailash won't happen again for another 47 years until 2069? What that means is that even though every year, starting with this May, every year in May, we will have a week of global unison, we will not be able to create any more Kailash Strands of Unison until 2069. And we are only creating 108 strands of Kailash for each type. So the Realm Lord Strand, the first spin key strand, the second spin key strand, and the third spin key strand. Each of those strands will have 108 created during this week of global unison. And after that, we won't make any more. We won't be able to make any more Kailash Strands for another 47 years. What that means is, if you think that you're going to want the Kailash Strands, first and foremost, everyone needs the Unison Strands. That is really essential to make sure that you receive the full benefit of the flowing nectar during the week of global unison. But if you think that you're going to really like it and that you're going to want the full effect of the Kailash Strands, then you need to order them before they sell out, because once they do sell out, we will not be able to get you any for another 47 years. Now, there is another type of strand that Lantos has mentioned to Cindy, and it is what he calls the Dragon Strand of Abundance. Those of you in the Full Moon Nectar course, I called it the 3 Jade Strand of Abundance because Lantos has referred to it that way as well. But most recently, he has started calling it the Dragon Strand of Abundance. Here is what Lantos said about this. When he first introduced it, he said abundance. Abundance of nectar, abundance of purity, abundance of energy and material prosperity. This is unison abundance. So it is important to understand this strand is not just about money. It's not just about monetary abundance. Once again, Lantos said in this just 2 sentences what abundance is for this strand, this dragon strand of abundance. He said, abundance of nectar, abundance of purity, abundance of energy, and material prosperity. This is unison abundance. You'll notice the material prosperity he actually mentioned last. In that list of 4 qualities, it ranked last on his list. Abundance of nectar, abundance of purity, abundance of energy, and material prosperity. This is unison abundance. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, Lantos spoke to Cindy more about the dragon strand of abundance, and he said, these are the spheres of treasure, immense treasure. Treasure exists on layers expressed and unexpressed. The spheres release treasures on both layers of existence, expressed and unexpressed. It is told that the great dragon guards a treasure, protects an immense treasure. It is like this. So that is the dragon strand of abundance. Treasure exists on layers expressed and unexpressed. These spheres release treasures on both layers of existence, expressed and unexpressed. Okay, and by the way, since I've told you about the other strands and what they're made of, you can see on the screen the dragon strand of abundance. It's made of 3 different types of jade: green jade, yellow jade, and white jade. Now the pricing for each of these strands. The Unison Strands, each Unison Strand is $300. There are 4 Unison Strands. Each Kailash Strand is $900. There are 4 Kailash Strands. The Dragon Strand of Abundance is $1,200. Now, you could just order those strands if you wanted to, but we want you to do something else. The virtual chair program that we have been doing for the last 2 years, where your photograph is given a treatment and then is placed in the flying seed and then is placed in the chair of Genesis itself. This is a very beneficial program, not only for you, but for the world itself. Because when your photograph goes in the chair of Genesis, you receive the full benefit of the chair of Genesis, the full radiance of the sublime light of Genesis flowing into the cells of your body. But as that light travels from the chair of Genesis to you, it impacts the entire world. It illumines the entire world. It purifies the world. These virtual chair programs have a significant beneficial effect on the world itself. And so what we want is for you to order virtual chair programs instead of the strands, and then we will give you the strands for free. So the Chair of Genesis program is a $300 program. The virtual chair program is a $300 program. For every virtual chair program that you order, you will receive a $300 credit towards the strands. So if you want the 4 Unison Strands, you can get 4 virtual chair programs, and then you receive the 4 Unison Strands for free. If you want a Kailash Strand, that's $900. You could get 3 virtual chair programs and then get one of the Kailash Strands for free. If you want the Dragon Strand of Abundance, you could order the strand itself for $1,200, or you could order 4 virtual chair programs and receive the Dragon Strand of Abundance for free. So you see what we've done is we've tied them to the chair program because it is so important, not only for you, but for the whole world, that you participate in the virtual chair program as much as possible. Now, if you add up all of the Unison Strands and all the Kailash Strands and the Dragon Strand of Abundance, that comes to 20 virtual chair programs. It's a total of $6,000, and it's 20 virtual chair programs. And yes, we will be doing the virtual chair program every single month, beginning in February for the next 20 months. Every month for the next 20 months. So if you have several members of the family who want to do this, you can pool the chair programs together and apply them collectively towards Kailash Strands or Unison Strands, anything like that. You can certainly do that, or if you're just doing it yourself, then you can have a virtual chair program every month for the next 20 months. It's entirely up to you how you want to do that. But I should make one thing very clear. For those of you who are doing this with a partner at home or with a family, with several family members, during the week of Global Unison, each day there will be one and only one global session to enliven one of the branches. And it is during that global session that you will be wearing the Unison Strand for that day. And that is how you receive the nectar of Amrita from Kailash during that week. Because there is just one global session each day during that week, and everyone worldwide will participate at the same time, that means you cannot share your Unison Strands with other family members. If you have a partner and you are going to be participating with your partner, then you will need two separate Unison Strands, two separate sets of Unison Strands, so that each of you is able to be wearing the Unison Strand for that day during that global session. So the Unison Strands are ones that after the week of Global Unison, you can certainly share them. But during the week of Global Unison, you cannot share them. Each person needs their own Unison Strand. The Kailash Strands, because they come after the week of Global Unison, they can be shared among all of your members of your family, friends, anything like that. You can share the Kailash Strands. But the Unison Strands, every person participating in the week of Global Unison has to have their own set of Unison Strands. One final thing. Many of you ordered the Singing Seed Fountain, and we still haven't been able to get them, and the shipping is a real issue on these right now. Because of that, what we would like for you to do is to transfer your payment for the fountain, which was $433, including the shipping for the fountain. Transfer that payment to two of the virtual chair programs. You will receive $600 credit for the $433 payment on the fountain. That means that if you ordered a fountain, a Singing Seed Fountain, and you want the set of Unison Strands, then you get credit for $600. You get credit for two chair programs coming with two free Unison Strands, and then you would only need to get two other chair programs to receive the other two Unison Strands. If you're wanting the whole set of absolutely everything, then instead of 20 chair programs, you would only do 18 chair programs, because the other two are free because of your payment for the Singing Seed Fountain. So we would like for you to do that because we want you to get the benefit of the payment, and we also want you to get the benefit of an additional discount because you get more credit, the $600 credit for the $433 payment that you made for the fountain. So this is our focus for the next 5 months. Our focus is on these portals of energy, these special periods of time that provide immense opportunity for energetic growth for you, for all expressions of creation. There are those two special windows of time, April 22nd and then May 19th, the 81st day and the 108th day following the Lunar New Year. Remember, this is what Lantos said about it. It is an opportunity for continued growth on all layers. Growth for the individual. Growth for all expressions of creation. With the arrival of the 81st day, there is a radiant celebration. 81 represents the physical steps required on the path to achieving 108. In this year of global unison, the 81st day arrives on the day of eternal light. Do you see the great significance? It is through the supreme intelligence and almighty organizing power that these portals unite on this day. The result is a tremendous upsurge of energy and light. This is the great blessing which comes before the most sacred week of global unison. In this year, we give thanks for the arrival of these supreme portals. The blessed strands of unison open the channels of essence within our blessed masters of unison. The all-knowing mastery of the infinite source of creation is expressed in this arrangement of cosmic events at this time, occurring during the first week of global unison. Great celestial bodies of sun and moon participating in the enlivenment of two fullnesses for Earth. It is very significant. The world has long looked to these precious days of the rise of unison, global unison. This is an exciting period of time. We're going to keep you updated with all the information as we receive it, and every day counts, every day. We'll be getting you the information on the global sessions and the sounds for each day. And of course, during the sessions, you'll be instructed with the sounds, so you don't have to worry at all about that. And that begins on February 1st. But we're excited to have this opportunity and to be able to experience it with you as we go through the week of global unison and experience those flowing waves of Amrita all around the world. Everyone, thank you very much for everything you do, as always. We look forward to this year with you.